everyone. So today I want to talk about my own. Okay, let me fix this actually. Hi everyone. So today I want to talk about my own healing spiritual journey, and how I got into doing the type of work that I do now. So about 7 years ago, I got really physically ill with an illness called endometriosis. It's an immune hormonal disease. I had actually been really sick with it for a while, but it took me almost 5 years to get diagnosed, and by the time I was diagnosed, I was so sick, I couldn't really walk anymore. My body was just rapidly deteriorating. I got pretty much as close as you can come to death without actually dying. And so at that point I realized that if I'm going to get better from this, I'm going to have to do it myself. So I did a lot of research, and I ended up going to an acupuncturist and following the holistic route of healing. And after about 2 super intense years of acupuncture and herbs and Reiki and all this other great healing stuff, I started to really get a hold of my health again. And at that point, I noticed that it's like I was so healed physically, and I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna go back to my normal life, I'm gonna go back to school, and then I noticed that I was having these other pains that didn't feel like anything I'd felt before, very otherworldly. And what actually happened is that when I started to physically heal from my illness, it catapulted me into basically going on a very extreme, very quick evolutionary journey in which I started to go from becoming just a third-dimensional being in a third-dimensional body to a fifth-dimensional being in a third-dimensional body. So basically, said another way, it's like my vibration kept raising and raising and raising and raising. So I wasn't just healthy physically anymore. It was like now I was ascending beyond all of that into something new and something that we don't currently have here. So I started researching, and I found that there's other people who this was happening to, and it turns out that we were people who, I guess you could say we had signed up to actually help with the transition of this planet from this patriarchal age to this new matriarchal age. And because of this shift, there was a lot of work that had to be done behind the scenes on an energetic level in order for us to shift everyone into this new energy. So myself and other people were doing this behind the scenes work, and because of that, our bodies were experiencing very strange symptoms. One of the big things we were doing is taking higher dimensional light energy and running it through our bodies so that we could distribute it to the collective. But in order for this to happen, our bodies started to needed to be rewired so that they could actually get this energy and run it through us without, hurting us or killing us. So it was, if you can imagine your entire body being rewired, it was very physically painful, and it kind of pushed us all into a dark night of the soul for just years and years and years that seemed to have no end. And so basically, it turns out I was one of these people who had decided to incarnate at this time to help with this shift on a very energetic sort of level. And with that also came a lot of we spent years and years transmuting all these lower negative energies that are on this planet. So any sort of violence or abuse, we would actually take them and put them in our bodies and turn them into something higher, like love or positivity. And it also led to a lot of us working on the grids. So basically, the planet functions on an energetic grid, and that determines what will manifest. The grids that had been placed under the patriarchy were very violent and just kind of, they were like black magic type grids, like satanic type grids. So we needed to go in there and pull everything apart and start building these new grids, which are, the new grids are very much based on the divine feminine energy. It's all about women and girls and animals and Mother Earth and this sort of loving, positive, nurturing energy. And so we spent years and years actually building these grids behind the scenes so that they could come in and everyone, including Mother Earth herself, could function on them now for this new age that we're going into. So I would say, you know, it's definitely not what I thought I would be doing at this point in my life. I didn't ever think after I graduated from college I would go on such an extreme healing journey, a spiritual journey. I would end up working behind the scenes on all this stuff. I didn't even know any of this stuff really existed or anything about it. I had no idea. I guess I'd signed up for this and spent a lot of time wondering what I was thinking when I signed up for it, because it's been so physically painful. And in addition to that, because the type of work we're doing, the energy we're running through our bodies is so high vibrationally, it can make it very dangerous for other people to be physically around us. So we've had to be really physically isolated in order to do this work. And so a lot of us have just been isolated for years and years, and that can be very difficult, I think, because like I said, I've been in my 20s, I want to be out and be social and doing all this stuff, and instead, you know, I just, yeah, it's like just going into this dark night of the soul. And I think the strangest part is not feeling like you really signed up for it. It wasn't like someone came to me and said, do you want to do this work now? It was just more, my body just naturally went right into it and started doing it. And then once it starts, you know, we just kept going. So the good news is I've definitely met a lot of really cool people on this journey. Oh, and something, you know, okay, now I'm lots of things to say, but something else I want to say is that as part of this journey, I ended up, especially when I first got physically really sick with endometriosis, I started going through a lot of death experiences where I'd actually cross over to the other side and come back. And every time I came back with an increase in psychic abilities, an increase in all these sort of ways of you know, communicating with higher dimensional light beings. And I mean, I've gone through, I think at this point, about 25 deaths in the last 7 years where I mean, physically it was on the border of life and death, and went over and then came back and then went over, and it's not fun, but it does help with increasing, like I said, psychic abilities or that sort of stuff. So the cool thing though is that I've met so many just amazing women who are at the forefront of consciousness, and they're the ones who were doing all this behind the scenes work even before I started, to make it possible for someone like me and the next group of people to come in and do our work and contribute what we want to contribute. And it's been so inspirational, and they're just really cool, awesome people who inspire me a lot. So that's definitely something I really liked. Yeah, I know that's a lot of information, and I think sometimes even I don't really understand quite what it is I do or we do, but I think as this all unfolds and people can start really seeing it in their everyday lives and feel it, I think people will know what we're talking about, and they'll be really interested in it and want to know how we did that, and maybe they'll start their own ascension journey of raising their own vibration, or maybe they're at the point we were at, you know, I was at 7 years ago, where I was so physically sick that I almost died, but I decided to go on a healing journey instead, and maybe they're at that point and they're going to go and they're starting their own healing journey, and then they'll start ascending and start having the ability to do all these other things, and to just be really energetically connected to everything. And so yeah, I think I think that's pretty much it. I just want, to let everyone know about my journey, and I hope that it inspires you to really go out and seek knowledge and seek healing, and to meet all these just powerful, amazing healers on this planet, and to ascend. Okay, I think that's all for today. So. Okay, hopefully.